Yeah, 103. We're going to have a roll call, please.
Gary Costa.
Scott Selby.
Bob Scanlon.
Sandy Slavin.
And Jim Gibberti. Okay, Sandy, unless you've had any notification from Kelly, I believe she's still on vacation. So we don't have minutes in the last one yet.
I've not received any.
Okay, I haven't either. I'm assuming she's still on vacation. Because she contacted me before she left and said she was going, and she would be in touch as soon as she got back.
Is that the same person who does them for all the boards?
No. Kelly only does us.
Okay.
She used to do more
But
than
that was-
when she was working.
If you're responding to the condition of the Conservation Commission minutes, she's not the same person.
Okay.
Okay. Next, we have a contract with Borden and Remington, and this is soda ash. Contract we have with them, we've had them for some time. This is a contract for 1 year, with an option to renew for up to three or 2 more years.
And the only reason this was made is because they have to buy it in bags now instead of.
Well, no, yeah, well, I guess that's part of it, because the soda ash building has been eliminated. So could have a motion on this one?
Is this any more expensive than what we currently have?
No.
So do you want to have a motion, second, then discussion?
That's fine.
Yeah, move to approve the contract between the town of Wareham and Borden and Remington Corporation as stipulated in the printed contract.
I'll second with discussion.
And discussion.
How much more are we paying?
I don't believe we're paying any more. We just changed the weights to handle the 55 bag.
So what was the, how
I
was
don't
it
know.
delivered, how was it delivered in the past?
In bulk.
In bulk.
Someone came with a dump truck and dumped it?
I don't know how they did it, but they filled the silo with bulk
Loose.
soda ash. But now, since the silo is gone, it has to be put in manually, I believe. So they're buying it in 50-pound bags by the pallet.
It says here with option to extend for the 2-year period, right, or 3-year period?
Yeah.
Is that pricing listed here so that as we go down the road? I don't see it. Or is it something in the original contract? Is that what it is?
The contract that we're looking at right now is at 41 cents a pound.
Right, I see that.
And
And then it says contract period of 1 year commencing level and option to renew for up to 2 years. Is that like 3 2-year periods, 2 3-year periods, am I reading that right?
okay, well.
So that you're saying 6 years.
Well-
This reads to be 2 years.
That's,
Well, I
So-
think they have to renew every 2 years.
Yeah.
Up to 3 times. So 2 years, and then when that runs out, they can renew for another 2 years, and that runs out, they can renew for another 2
is there
years.
established pricing for these 2-year segments? Continue, anybody know?
I don't know, we're gonna find out. Give me a second.
Then why isn't this for 2 years? Why is this one a 1 year when everything else is a 2-year extension?
I think because it finishes the contract, the original one, but it has to be adjusted to handle the manual. I think it's the end of the 3-year period, it has to be handled.
Because change of the delivery method.
That's what appears obsolete.
Should we place this on hold until Ginny comes back with some answers?
Just looking up soda ash online from another company called Level 7 Chemical and Supply, and they're charging $89 per 100 pounds, which would be more than twice the price of the delivered price here.
Is that firm local?
Level 7 chemical supply, I don't know.
Well, anyway, it's much more expensive than this contract.
Yeah, more than twice. Yeah. The other thing is, I think a lot of soda ash comes from Canada. So it'd be nice to lock in this price, this contract.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
I'm sure there'll be a tariff put on it.
Only if you buy it.
Yeah.
So here's nothing for $47 for 50 pounds, so that would be $94 for 100 pounds, 90 something cents per pound, so this looks like it could be
41 pounds, 50.
We can renew annually 2 more years for a total of 3 for this contract. And we'd be dealing with the same contract. We'd have to do a new contract with them if the price exceeds a 10% increase.
It does have that in the current contract, 10% increase.
So under time of performance, we really need to remove the 2 years. Because it's up to 2 years. It should have been 2 years, parentheses, 2, close parentheses, and maybe that's where it, right? We can only renew this up to 2 years, not 3, 2 years.
Be a total of 3 one-year contracts, basically.
Yep, but I'm looking at this sentence. Can somebody, am I reading it as if it's giving us 6 years?
Yes.
That's the way I read it, that's why I was
Yeah.
so proud of
Yeah,
it.
no, it's not.
So it should say, I think, if I understand what you're saying, Jim, it should say 3 one-year contracts.
Yeah,
All right?
But-
Right.
No, this is 1 year. We
This
can
is 1 year,
renew it
so
for 2 years.
2 one-year
You just
contracts,
said- you just said 3.
Total of 3
including
years.
this
So
one.
it should say 2 one-year contracts.
Yeah.
Yes, so I will not sign this contract until that is corrected.
Is this something that can be done in the office right out here?
Yeah.
Yep, it'll be, can we hand write the collection all initially, and then we get any equipment?
Yeah, we should get
You want to ask her to, do you want me to go ask her to make that change?
Would you please? I will.
I know, by the time you get back and forth. yeah.
Exactly. Thank you. I knew what she meant, but,
I see right here, see,
yeah.
2 1 years where it should be right. So, and this is,
I'm gonna just put this one on hold for the moment we'll get back to it, that's all. So she's got that satisfaction.
It's from the Green River Valley of Wyoming.
So what?
Soda ash comes from the Green River Valley of Wyoming.
Oh, of course it does, doesn't everybody know that?
We do now.
We do that.
It's being modified. Once it's modified, I will
I
will ask to take the vote.
4,100 on that, but versus some big prices there.
89, 87.
Yeah, delivered.
Okay, $820 a ton. Okay. Doctor,
EDU update. So
please.
I'm almost finished with this document, which is recommendations for changes in EDU assignments. I've talked about this a little bit before. What I'd like to do is go to a hybrid system. And the reason where some accounts are charged by EDU like we've been doing traditionally, and some accounts go to using water volume for commercial institutional and industrial accounts to start with. And the reason is we have a total of 6,378 accounts in Wareham, and of those, only I'm not sure about this, but 5,814 are single EDU accounts. I'm guessing those are mostly residential. And there are 564 multiple EDU accounts. I'm guessing those are mostly commercial, industrial, or institutional.
Some of those are two and multifamily homes as well. too.
They could be, so I haven't done a fine sorting of that.
Mhm.
And I'll talk about why I haven't done that yet in a minute. But, so if we go to a hybrid system where we're in the process of transitioning from EDUs to a volume system for billing, this gives us a little time and not so much of a burden just to look at 500-ish accounts and make the transition there instead of trying to go to all 6,378 all at the same time. And the reason I haven't done the fine work on that is because the spreadsheet that I have lacks some really important data. This is the master EDU account list. And so I need to have additional information, additional columns filled in. For one thing, is this an onset water department or a Wareham water department? This whatever account. Is it a commercial, is it industrial, or is it institutional or residential? I don't have that information yet in here. It makes it really hard.
I've got all of it.
Have you?
Yeah,
Okay.
so I'll give it to you.
All right, I have the street addresses, but I have to look up, or someone would have to look up each one to see which one is which.
Yeah.
The other thing I've done, yeah, it'd be great, Bob, if I could have
Mhm.
that.
Down to the number of bedrooms for the.
Excellent. Yeah, if you can send me that spreadsheet, then I can finish this up. I've done, what I've done is I've taken, Jimmy gave me a document that showed that we have, I think, 45 different levels of accounts, and I've got it down to 5 or 7, depending on how we look at it, which is, I think, a step forward. But part of that is dependent on moving some of those accounts to what I would say a more rational system based on volume. It's going to take some time to transition. I think we want to give our customers plenty of lead time. I think some bills are going to go up, some bills are going to go down. So there's going to be some people who are happy and some people who are not happy. But we have to get to the same bottom line. It's a zero-sum game. We have to have that 8.5 million, whatever it is, operating budget. And so we need to make sure that spreadsheet comes out to that at the very end. But there's going to take some modeling first to get there. So if I have this information from Bob, additional information, and then I can match it up with what the accounts are currently being paid. So let's say, for example, Toby Hospital, right now they're paying $61,000 and something for their sewer usage. By the new calculations that I'm recommending, I don't know yet what their bill would be. But I don't want it to double, and I don't want it to be half of what they're presently paying. I think they need to be in the same kind of region. So that's how I need to model some of those bills so that I can figure out, how that's going to affect people's billing. So that's where I am at the moment.
Do you accommodate the use of the water? As whether or not they're in a situation where they're putting water that needs that extra special care and cleaning before it can be?
Yeah, only for the industrial
Okay.
accounts. Now, we can do that for the other accounts as well, but I think we're making assumptions about biological oxygen demand, total dissolved solids or total suspended solids based on that residences would all be basically the same,
Mm-hmm.
and that maybe institutions would be basically the same, and maybe commercial would be basically the same, but industrial is going to be mostly.
The ones that say, I'm doing a lot of grease work and I'm repairing cars and therefore I'm going to be putting water, washing my hands and putting materials in the water that needs to be treated more than somebody who just is a laundromat.
Right, well, we can define those as industrial, if,
Mhm.
if there is indeed that kind of waste going in. So, so maybe a garage that deals with a lot of
Midas.
spillage or whatever.
Yeah, that type of thing,
Maybe we put them
yeah.
in the industrial category, and
Mhm.
that would require some testing. So that's the only way to demonstrate that that's happening.
Well, it's a place to start.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So by the next meeting, I'll have a full draft of this, and I'll try to get it to you a week before the meeting so that you have time to look it over.
Super. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions from anybody?
Yes.
Go ahead.
How do we meet what we need to meet on, say it's $9 million, the budget, right?
Yeah.
And in reference to that, some people may pay more, some people may pay less, right? But yet, we have the Toby Hospital, for example. Do we allow them to go up 2 times? We don't want them to be cut in half. How do you start to set these formulas or the algorithms so that it's X amount per water going in, right? You know, it's coming out without offending people in the businesses and recognizing that some people are going to be extremely happy, but yet we never really get to the 9 million. If, in some cases, I think it's too early to not say some of the businesses may go up tremendous amounts.
They may.
Yes.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is I don't want to stipulate that we're going to have a cutoff that we feel that it can't go up X amount. Because I think when you start taking a reduction in the water bills after you do this, you're going to have the people that are seasonal down here. I can only assume that they drop dramatically, and the people that are going to make that up are going to be mostly, I use the word commercial and industrial.
But if we start with commercial, industrial, and manufacturing, what was the other category? They're really not, the only thing seasonal would be a restaurant.
No, household.
Well, we're not into
So
household.
households are, we've already established households have 1 EDU up to 3 bedrooms.
Yeah, for this transition time, the residential would stay as on EDUs. It's 1 EDU up to 3 bedrooms,
That's
and
the
then
end of it, yeah.
additional for additional bedrooms.
If they're new.
All right, so what break do they get in their cost of living?
Nothing until we better understand.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's a learning curve for us.
I know, so what I'm saying is, would we not be, look at it this way, that we set this up, we run parallel systems? All right, that you see, we do may have to do it for a year or 2, to want to continue 100% EDU with a backup as a parallel to the new system.
That's why we have to run the models.
Right,
We have to
you know
run
what
the
I'm
models on that.
We just,
And to do that, I'm going to need to have the
Yes.
water flow data from Wareham and from onset.
I mean, at this point, we're not close
Oh, I know, I
To-
totally agree.
putting into effect.
Right.
But we are at least working in the direction of coming up with a suggestion that will hopefully be palatable overall and do what we're after, and that's to maintain the level of income that's necessary for us.
And I don't want to belabor the point, but how do you know how to set the algorithm, the formulas for the commercial folks, i.e. water flowing through, if we don't know what we're going to have to do with the algorithm for the EDUs that we currently keep in place, the residential, when we switch them over?
Yeah, it's a good point. It's a really good point.
That's what I'm getting to. So you may be,
Yeah. Yeah, so the budget may be divided. So we need to come up with 9 million. And we may say, okay, we have the residential, total number of EDUs is 6,000, let's say 7,000
Right.
EDUs for residential. Okay, and so we have that, we can figure out a base rate for that. And then we can look at all the other accounts and how do we make up the gap between that 6,000 or 7,000 accounts at 1 EDU and the final. So that's, like I say, that's where the
Oh, yeah.
modeling will have to come in. But it's a really good point about, because with a hybrid system, there's that, you're gonna have to have it.
yeah.
And the other thing is, let's say that we look at the water flow data and it comes out that, I don't know, Toby Hospital, and I'm not saying Toby Hospital, just an example. Let's say that by the algorithm and by the fairness doctrine we're trying to get to, the fairness policy, let's say this goes to 122,000 a year. we don't want to just double it in 1 year, especially like for a school. We know the school budgets aren't going to tolerate that big of a jump. They're already stretched. So there may have to be a time when we transition, we have a smaller increase over 4 or 5 years, something like that, to allow them to build up their budgets to that point. I don't know.
You're absolutely right, it's a very sensitive area.
It's
And
tax.
how you do that, yeah.
It's a tax. So it's a user tax. We need to be careful about how we implement it. But I think we're moving towards something that's more fair and less ad hoc.
It's a start,
Yep, it's a start.
trying to understand how we process flow and still make the money we need in order to operate.
Well, considering the first time we had a presentation done on this, and I can't think of the name of the company right now, but one of the engineering companies, I mean, they were coming in with increases to the residential.
To the point that he would not put it on
To
in
be like
the air.
$2,000. They
We-
were talking huge numbers, so
We
we
were
were not,
given- yeah,
Sandy, please.
sorry.
They were talking with huge numbers increases that we just couldn't even begin to go with at all. It would just. it
There
would
was
just
so
off the
much.
charts.
We were given the number on a piece of paper and not set it on the air. It was that type of
Yeah.
increase.
It was crazy, absolutely crazy. So that's why it's been taking so long. And I mean, I've been trying to get an equitable system in here ever since I've been on this board. And I mean, thankfully with your input,
Yes.
we're at least working in a direction that seems to be far more practical and prone for implementation at some point than we've had previously.
Now, there's one other
This isn't
component.
the answer, but.
Sorry, Carrie, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, just being the newbie on the block here, I appreciate it. Thank you for all this, it's good. Back years ago, did Wareham set the EDUs up just to make it comfortable and easy for everybody, it was simple? Anybody know?
It was done in the beginning.
Yeah, no, but
So
was
I
it-
When the
can't
selectmen
I know.
ran it, yeah.
The Board of Selectmen ran
just
it.
to make it,
I have no idea. I mean, the best we can determine, and hindsight's always 20/20, but the best we can determine, they established the EDUs based off Title V assumptions. What Title V, what rules and regs were for systems, they kind of adapted off of that.
I've also heard that some of these were set, and I don't know if this is true, but I've heard that some of these were set by negotiation. So
Could well have been.
I'm not sure how that works. That's why I call it an ad hoc
I've only
system.
been, I've only been on sewer for 4 years, 5 years. I don't think anybody here has had any history. Maybe you
Can't
know.
find any.
Yeah,
So we need to move to a rational system so everybody can budget accordingly, so that they have some way of predicting what the costs are going to be. The two other points I'd like to make before we move on to the next agenda item. One is that both of the water department people I talked to, they agree on a few items. One of the things they agree on is they don't want to be involved with reduction meters or deduction meters.
Neither do I.
So you take something like a residential house or an apartment complex or a barber shop. They may have a little water that comes in that doesn't go out through irrigation, watering the flowers, washing the car, whatever, but it's going to be insignificant compared to the total amount. You have a golf course, on the other hand, or a cranberry bog, or the Wareham, the UMass Cranberry Station. Their irrigation budget is going to be much bigger. Or a car wash out on the Cranberry Highway. Their non-water through the sewer system is going to be much different from their inflow. They recycle the water and so on. So they may be interested, I would guess, they'd be interested in using a reduction meter for their own purposes. And I'd say that's fine, that the town's not going to pay for it. The sewer, if you want it, that's fine. You can pay for it and maintain it.
most of the water that is used on a household that does not go through outflow would be something for a garden, something for the lawn, something to wash their cars with, or their water gardens or something like that. But most homes don't have a large garden, but they do have a large lawn that they water. So that it could very well be something that we look at a standard reduction. Take a look at what comes in and say, okay, 2% will never come back to us, or something like that.
And just build that into the
There
formula.
is some studies that say how much water, because we don't want 2 water meters per home.
Right.
One going to the house and one going to the lawn. So
Right.
there is something that you can use as a standard calculation that says X% of water you use does not go down the drain.
Right.
Yeah.
And this is probably going to be a baseline anyway, so up to 10,000 gallons, there's some baseline number, and then over that. So most people are not going to reach that anyway.
And I'm sure most towns that have water usage has that type of thing in their
That's
calculation.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if we stay with the hybrid system, that whole discussion is moot. For the most part, what I'm saying here, Scott, is that that really won't affect the homeowners, because we'll be establishing an EDU rate. Now, whether the EDU rate is the same as what we're dealing with right now, or whatever. We're gonna have to, if we're gonna go with water, I assume we're gonna have to take and establish a base rate
That's right.
that covers us for the operations.
Right. And because,
And above that base rate will be, based on water, would be additional.
yeah, and there's another consideration that there's a lot of seasonal homes here in Wareham too. And if we just went by water usage only, then everyone else would be subsidizing, the year-rounders would be subsidizing the
Those only for
seasonal.
6 months, yeah.
Yeah, so
That's right.
there needs to be some kind of base
That's
rate.
what- that has to
But
be
everybody
indexed for
pays
that.
regardless of usage.
That's right.
And then your usage increases as you
Right,
wash your 7 kids versus 1 kid.
well,
Exactly.
that's what been the discussion all along, that's
Yeah.
nothing different there.
I hear it in my neighborhood,
Yeah.
because 9% of the seasonal. I flush the toilet twice a year.
Yeah,
I understand.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that was, you can using that urine diversion, the backyard.
Okay, moving on.
Back up for half a second, this contract. Contract is a period of 1 year commencing March 5th through February 28th, with an option to renew up to 2 one-year terms if agreed upon by both parties.
So that's 2 more years than what we're currently signed.
Up to 2 1 year.
2 one-year extensions.
A total of 3 years.
Okay, so we had a motion and a
And a
second.
second. All in favor with the corrections made?
Aye.
Aye.
Just one quick discussion on this.
Yep, go ahead.
When we change this, what says 2 1 years, so it should be 2 1 year. So it's a single, I
let's
believe.
cross it out.
Cross, yeah, that's all. Simple.
What do we call that, a type of?
Yeah, typo.
Scrivener error.
Scrivener error.
That's how we first read it, I kind of.
So are we signing that? I have a paper to be signed.
Okay.
I'll pass that around. I'll pass this paper around at the end of the meeting.
Scott, you have anything else to throw into the fray here?
An EDU update?
Yeah.
No, I think we beat that up enough.
Okay. Well, can you give us a quickie?
Yep, it's gonna be quick, it's on hold because I'm giving my methodology a second thought, make sure I'm not wasting my efforts. I'm gonna consult with you, Scott, and see if there's a better way of doing what I'm trying to pull off. But yeah, and the other thing is that Scott and I, the director, discussed starting up a Facebook page to replace the dormant one that is currently on the sewer department town website. I think it would just be a good public relations idea. They could post pictures, update people on the comings and goings of the plant and the construction progress. So I will have further discussions with him about that. Originally, he thought that it should be under the commission's purview, but I think it should be under the sewer department's purview. And I've learned that commissions can't have Facebook pages anyway, so that kind of renders that moot.
Is there a rule in town that anything before it's posted on the town's website or Facebook page has to be approved by whatever the communications office of the town, or do they have a PR person who checks everything before it's posted?
Before it gets posted, I don't know.
I'm not aware of any, whenever I want anything posted for my committees, it's approved by the committee and sent to IT for posting.
So nobody in the town checks?
So there's no gatekeeper for the entire
No,
project?
I put it this way, I've never encountered one. So I
Wow.
never have done something that raised it. I mean, I'm updating reports.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm bringing this to town meeting, I want it posted. So I've never done anything that would indicate as a, oh, we might like to type thing.
Yeah.
Just facts that, hey, this is how much money we got left.
I'm very unfamiliar with it, but is it strictly for the business of the town, or in relationship to a person in town want to post something on on a page in some department, they just can't do that,
No,
can they?
it is-
By going to the IT department of Wareham?
As far as I know, you cannot post anything other than what's associated with the committee, board, committee, commission that you're posting it for. There was something in the last select board's meeting that talked about communication, but I didn't listen to the whole meeting. Did you?
No, I didn't.
Every once in a while, the selectmen will come out to say, you can't do this.
Yeah.
It's not a place for personal discussion or your opinion. It has to be factual for the board or committee or commission that you're talking on. It can't be opinionated. And as an employee for the town, you really can't respond to somebody else on another web page that is talking about what's happening in town. You have to use, you just can't. You know, so Alan can't respond to somebody on another web page because he represented the town as a selectman. So, that type of thing.
It's just a little scary, so
Yeah.
gatekeepers, wow. I've never
Right
worked
now,
in the
the-
private sector.
I'll put it this way, I've never had anybody tell me what I posted was wrong, and don't do it again.
Well, wrong, right or wrong, or I'm more interested in discriminatory type issues.
Yes.
That come across.
Yeah.
That's
I've
the
not-
big killer.
I've not encountered anything.
Now, to further update, I did ask Matt to migrate the utility map viewer that outlines all the, basically the map of the sewer system for the town is now on the sewer department town website. And then I had some discussion with GHD thinking that they may have had a hand in creating that map, but they did not. And nobody knows
Where it came from?
where it came from, how it can be modified, or anything. It was suggested that since there's some DPW information on there, water mains, and that I go to other departments and see if they know. But the thought was that there was an intern working here sometime in the past who had been responsible for making that map or adding to that map, and that's all we know. Don't have a name or anything
Yeah, I
like
have
that.
no
Or an
idea
account number, I have no idea.
why sections are missing, but I can tell you it's been updated for the
Been
last
updated.
sewer project that we did has been included on that. Because
Yeah,
that was my neighborhood.
yeah, so it's just your neighborhood that's
Or maybe some-
missing from it, but
Yeah,
I was hoping to have GHD, thinking that they had done it in the beginning, upload information to include your neighborhood.
And
but
maybe the
they-
trailer park.
They didn't even know that they didn't even know that this map existed, so, yeah.
Maybe the trailer park, that it's just, every once in a while, another one comes online, because if you go to Great Hills, you don't see all the lines there either.
Yeah, I have no
Great Hills,
idea.
But
Great,
that's all
Great
private.
Estate,
Great Hills Estate,
It's all
the trailer park off of, yeah.
I'm sorry, but the campground is all
Yeah.
church-owned private. Do you think,
What I'm saying is, well, do you have your own pump station? And do you do all your own stuff with the sewer?
No,
That's what the-
it's all
See,
town.
that's what the trailer park, the only connection we have with the trailer park is where they tie into our system. We have done nothing with anything that's in here.
I see. So basically,
No
pump-
infrastructure.
Oh.
We're not-
So we
we're not
don't-
infrastructure concerned.
we have no knowledge of where their
No,
stubs are or anything?
No, we're not
that's
involved
a
with
piece
their
of property,
infrastructure.
yeah.
I was able to find the original plans for the campground sewer system, but that's not what was built. So I'm suggesting that everybody shred those plans, and I'm still looking for as-bills. I think that should be helpful for you, but,
Was there, do you have any knowledge as to who installed it or who the engineer was for
No.
it? Or if there was an engineer for it?
no, but Barbara's on the board and she has access to the records, so she's looking.
But do we care how many trailer homes have been connected to us? Because isn't that usage coming in that we need to account for? But we don't, you're saying we don't care. We don't have,
We don't, we are not putting that infrastructure in. You know,
But we are billing them for usage.
we're billing them for usage, and for that Great Hill, we're billing them for 133.
and how many do they
Spots.
actually have?
That's how many they have connected.
I thought we had a disconnect at the
They were
last
out
meeting.
there, I
They
just
did Camel
saying, they have 133 connected because that's what our staff went out and verified.
What were we billing them for?
160, that probably.
They have plans to connect the other 30?
Yeah, you see,
Oh, it's a graduated thing, I
well,
remember that now.
the thing with Scott is my best recollection at the moment, because it's all been verbal. 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago, Great Hill came, wanted to increase the number of connections that they had, which would be the flow. They told us how many more they were gonna be connecting, and the reason for the connections was they were selling the park, and the people that were buying the park wanted those connections made before they purchased the park. So they gave us a number, and we billed based on that number. Currently, there are new owners on the park, and they've been there for what, 2 years now, I guess. And they're saying, no, that number is incorrect, we're only got this many connected, 133.
So,
Why are you billing this when, you know, we're paying this, and we've only got this? This is the number we were given, this is the number we were working off of, this is the number we were told by the trailer park. So we sent guys out there to physically lift covers and check and to determine how many they had hooked up at the present time. And that's 133.
If they were all connected, how many would there be? If they were all connected, max out?
I think it's over 200, but I don't know the number exactly.
how do we trust and verify? I mean, I'm sure it's not a big issue, but trailer park gets built. How do we really know, and how do we don't have to give permission for a trailer to hook up, as far as I know, because it's on private property. So we just take them
The trailer park got allocated X number of gallons based on the number of units, number of spaces they had. They, going back, the sewer department didn't want to go hook up your trailer and then your trailer and skip yours and skip hers and do all of that. Forget it. It's a trailer park, it comes to here from, and we bill you. We don't bill 133 other people. It's one bill.
Yeah, just thinking in terms of usage.
Now, I understand what you're saying, Rob, and to be quite honest with you, I don't know how we, the way it's worked thus far, as far as I am aware, is that
It's really,
she owns the park, and she tells me that we're hooking up 6 more units. The bill goes up by 6 more units.
So what I believe I'm hearing is that they could have 133 with going fund, they could be running 170, right? So going forward in these situations,
That's why we sent them out there.
couldn't we just bill them the max and let them share it with the cost of whoever's in it?
that's
at
what
one
I'm
time?
thinking.
And then as more gets on, they have
Their shares get smaller.
smaller and smaller. That's all, you know.
Yeah,
Because I think what I'm hearing you saying is that not the time and energy that we gotta send the Wareham team down there to verify who's on and who.
Every
We check-
time.
Every time, so you check them out for 200, 200 gets divided between 100 people.
Mhm.
5 years down, 200 gets divided by 150. That's their deal.
That's
Not
right.
our deal, we're still
Yeah.
getting 200. If they can max out at 200, whatever the number is.
I think that's the easiest,
Am I saying that correctly?
fairest
Yeah,
way.
no, I don't disagree with you, Jerry. I think it's, it's probably the more
We-
realistic way to go for us.
So, back in, GHD gave us a list of sewer approved list capacity dated June 2021, and the Great Hills was given to 20,000 GPD,
Gallons per day.
Gallons per day, yeah.
gallons per day. Okay, so 1 EDU is how many gallons per day?
Well, the way we're
There's no
calculating at the
subsidy.
moment is 330.
Yeah.
So 330 gallons per day per 1 EDU.
But if you remember that, that was before we established the 330. That's what we've established now.
But what, 2021 wasn't that long ago, I can't
That's what we've
remember.
established now, but we didn't have that
So,
before.
we, as our plan for capacity that is already approved, is that Great Hills was given 20,000 gallons per day.
Okay?
So, just a piece, they may never have seen this document before, so that's why I'm saying
sure they
something.
If I do mathematical.
Sorry?
I'm saying,
Isn't a 2-bedroom house up to 3? Right.
Three, yeah.
3 bedrooms and don't, if you go to 3 mathematically, doesn't each bedroom allow for 2 people, which that allows for like 100 gallons per bedroom per day?
it's 110 gallons, based on Title V, it's 110 gallons per bedroom per day.
110, so definitely they got 330.
That's where the 330,
Yeah.
Mhm.
that's why I just used the 330, because we established last year that
That
an
makes sense.
EDU is a single, up to a 3-bedroom,
Right.
single family. That was 1 EDU, that was based on 330 gallons a day. So using that determination going forward, the EDUs are based on 330 gallons a day residentially. Now, commercially, that's where we're at with Scott, trying to determine what is commercial and what is whatever, and how does that get billed, and therefore the hybrid system that was mentioned, which makes perfect sense for what we're dealing with at the present time. Now, when you look at the trailer park, you could say the same thing. Sandy, give me those numbers again. How many? 20,000?
20,000 gallons per day for Great Hills.
Okay, and you're saying,
You're saying 330 times 200 is only 600, 6,000? Yeah.
I mean, I can't come up with anything that comes up to 20,000 gallons per day.
Well, no, that's what they're allowed up to.
That's what was approved for their usage when we were looking at capacity before we put in a moratorium.
yeah, exactly. No. No, that's incorrect.
Oh, all right. Because this says, this is what was approved prior to the moratorium. This is
Yes,
one pending
and we
approval
went-
after
I had 60
moratorium.
units.
330 gallons wasn't part of the discussion.
Did what, 60 units?
I got 60 units. If you take
Yeah,
your
61.
61, okay.
Yeah.
If you take your 20,000 gallons a
Mhm.
day,
Mhm.
if you take it out by max at 330 per EDU, you come up with 61.
Hmm.
It's-
Well-
Sounds like there are a lot more hookups than 61.
That's to me too,
Right.
yeah.
I'm sorry, on this list, it has a single-family home getting 330 gallons per day. Isn't that one EDU?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's
So
what we,
that, yeah,
that's what we have determined one EDU is.
That's the
We
assumption.
had not
That's the
determined that previously, that's what I'm saying.
So we're
That's
getting a
new.
deal.
So that, someone's gonna, I'm gonna move down there.
Yeah.
Someone's gonna deal. Right. 60.
Well,
Moving
if
to
you,
trailer
if
park.
you
Is that what you're
want,
saying?
if you want to back up to Great Hill at the moment, then with this discussion, Great Hill is now charging all of their residents $60 a month
Times 12, that's
for rent?
for
360
sewer,
for sewer.
because the sewer rates went up according to them, to their part. We're not part of this discussion yet. Okay, but that's what's happening down there right now.
Well, they can charge whatever they want.
Oh, I understand that, Scott, but the point I'm driving at is that you were paying X dollars for your site up until just recently, and now they've added $60 on, and you've had sewage at your site all along. And you've been paying it in whatever your monthly fee is.
A fixed
But
cost,
now-
a monthly fee.
We're gonna charge $60 a month because sewage went up.
So do we have the,
We don't have any control over that.
No.
but do we have the legal right or the authority to charge them for the full max of 200 potential sites and let them handle it from there?
Well, I think we could
You know,
take
Yeah.
that.
Ask Rich.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm deferring that for a second and asking Bob to ask Rich.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So, because he's, because if that's the case, then we probably should
Richie,
Richie.
Can I
update it.
go back, Bob made the reference to the database, just, what type of database are you looking for? Something that I could,
Well, it's pretty much like what Scott had in the binder,
okay,
but being able to have it on a computer and we can pull up, we can pull up minutes, we can pull up contracts,
oh, okay, all right.
all that, and just have it right there. So if we want the Borden and Remington contract, we would have a history of Borden and Remington, how, each year and what extensions were granted and new contracts took their place, just so we have the whole history. Abatements, we can know what's been voted on in the past, and
Let me, okay, now, let me, if you allow me, I'll look into a couple of my private enterprise folks.
okay,
That we've
great,
done this with 20,000 contracts with customers across the country.
yeah,
All the information that goes with it, then we have it in there so we can pull it up.
yeah.
All right, let me
Like
just
a-
see.
I'm hoping that the town will get a Microsoft account, so that town-wide, all the different departments can use it, and it will allow everyone to have the whole suite of programs offered.
I may know, I'll make some phone calls.
Okay, great, thanks.
Okay. Anything else, sir?
That should do it.
Okay. The only other thing I had here was, because discussions come up about make these additional units. And to the best of my recollection, this has already been approved as far as their allocation allowance.
but is there sewer there? I went online and I couldn't find any sewer for
There's no
that
sewer
whole
there.
development.
Yeah, they do have sewer.
But not connected to us.
Yes.
Yes, connected to us.
It's not on the map.
Scott has the information.
I believe it goes through the Kenwood pump station.
It goes roundabout. It goes through a couple of different pump stations, and with this new project, Scott could speak to it better, but,
So here's another issue where this map of utilities
That's
does
why I
not
was trying to
reflect
get
this.
That's why
Yeah,
I'm trying to
actually
get
it does.
updated.
I went online yesterday.
no, Scott showed me, I was here the other day, and it does
Online?
reflect it, yeah.
I
Yeah.
went online, I couldn't find anything.
So what happens is everything from Rosebrook, I don't know if it's Thatcher, and there's another one.
Goes to Kenwood, then to Thatcher.
Yeah, it goes through two pumping stations which are already overtaxed.
Goes to Kenwood,
And
Thatcher,
it takes-
Springborn.
Springborn, yeah. So it takes a roundabout route. And if they
Goes
do
under
this
the highway.
new section, they can tie in by the police station and send it on its way.
Okay, now, the 10,000 that was given to Makepeace was for an industrial park that was never, ever started or completed.
Okay.
So have we approved these 180 units?
I believe those have been approved previously.
I can't find it on the list that we have from 2021. So,
Well, what they're gonna build, I think, is gonna qualify as 40B.
yeah, here's the question. I've been told, Sandy, is that a rumor that 40P we have to accommodate it? Or is it something you've heard, or is that really the law? Somebody questioned that because I made that statement of 40B, we have to accommodate. And someone said, Sandy, I can't find it anywhere, where are
Well,
you?
the statement that's come out so far, as the only thing that I know is that the press, whether it's accurate or inaccurate, I have no clue, is that with that project, if it goes in, that we will probably meet our 10% quota. Now, what that means in English and in rationale, I have no idea. Because I have heard nothing about
Yes.
that being 40B. I have seen nothing anywhere that says that's gonna be a 40B.
So another
Well,
question for
And I'm
Richie.
going, bear with me, they came before conservation because they're up against wetlands, and we approved the wetland delineation, and I was told it was a 40B for 180 units.
Okay.
We got 40 units coming down at Cranberry Manor, that makes 220 units, that will put us over the 10%. That came out of Affordable Housing Trust meeting.
Okay.
But are we required to hook up a 40B?
Specifically, I don't know, but based on everything else that goes around a 40B, I'm assuming we would be required.
I guess Scott
If
has
there
Yeah,
was-
we
to ask,
were required to hook up
why wouldn't?
Sandwich Road.
Yeah,
Why wouldn't, Sandy?
But when we hooked up
exactly.
Woodland Cove,
Yeah,
we
do
made
us.
them upgrade the station they would be coming through, so we could put some issues on them to handle the additional flow by increasing the
Let's wait and
capacity.
find out what's gonna happen with it.
And I think the way that it's proposed to work out, it's gonna address that problem.
I'm gonna wait and see
We
what,
have to wait and
Yeah.
see.
Are there more pumping stations down there to handle that? Right,
I
so-
mean, we haven't got to that stage yet.
Yeah, it's just the way that it's being routed now is horrible. I don't know who figured that one out, but it makes absolutely no sense, so the solution will definitely make sense. And Scott, should speak to that
Scott's
better.
working on it, so he's aware of it, so
Yeah.
when he tells us that we need to be aware of doing something different or what has to
When
happen.
does all this
we're gonna-
commence?
Hmm?
I do not know. When does it start?
When do we think it
Projected?
commence?
No,
I don't know, they're just in the
I have not
planning
seen any
stages
plans
now.
for buildings.
I don't know. He's still-
Right
This
now,
could be
it's,
Still at the
2
talking
years down the
stage.
road, right?
Could be, yes.
Okay.
That's why I'm just, just popped it up here, because it's been, let's make up stories as fast as we can about what everything's gonna be. Doesn't have to be true, just make them up. Takes up space.
would
Okay.
you prefer not to know?
I already know enough, I already know enough. Something's going in there.
The map doesn't show any, the municipal map doesn't show any sewerage north of the 25.
Nope, it doesn't.
let's see.
So here's Glen Charlie Road, and then this is Plymouth Road.
Yeah, it's not,
This
it's
is
not up
that
that far, yeah. So,
Yeah, but see, it all just stops right here. There's nothing,
And that's what I was seeing, there's nothing
nothing.
up into the, off of 28 into
yeah,
that area,
well,
so.
it exists, I know, guys saw, what Scott had shown me the other day, the pipe runs under 195. And then it goes into a pumping station, and it comes,
Were you looking at something
South.
online?
I can't remember now or not, whether Scott had just drawn it out, but. We'll have to ask Scott.
Yeah,
So
we
he's
just-
coming out.
Check with Scott.
Here,
All right.
it shows one line going under the 195 over by, between Deacon's Elementary School and Wareham Crossing, and then up a little bit, but that's nowhere near.
I think it's probably, yeah, isn't it here? I think it comes across here, the pumping station down the pumping station here, and then
Oh, I
on its
see.
merry way.
So
Then they want to cut that loop.
that's what I saw,
They're proposing to cut that out,
and
make
that,
it more direct.
and that triangle is up by the assisted living. So that's what I saw, I couldn't find any lines that connected the hotel, connected
You're gonna have to talk to the
Restaurants.
intern that drew the map up.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, like everything else in this town.
Okay,
I know.
Go ahead.
Moving along, we don't, Scott is not here, so, do we have anything else unanticipated to bring up for here? Okay. If not, our next meeting will be on the 27th, 6:30, multi-service center. And then we could get a motion to adjourn and go into the workshop.
Before we adjourn, I just want to say thank you for updating and getting back all those emails that we had. We were flooding there for,
There were a few. There were a few.
yeah.
I'm passing around for signatures.
So moved.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we're gonna move,
2 o'clock or 2:01, 2 o'clock?
yes, whatever, I'm sorry.
Roll on.
Bill, one sounds good. Okay, can we take a little short,
Yep.
2-minute break here so we can
Let me get my
call the workshop to order? Can we have a roll call for this, please?
Carrie Pascal.
Scott Sobey.
Bob Scanlon?
Sandy Slavin?
And Jim Gibberti. Okay, again, minutes, the transcriptionist is still on vacation for here too. And first thing I have is the grease trap. Sandy brought this up a couple weeks ago. This Plymouth is doing an initiative where they're requiring restaurants, and I don't think it's a whole town, it's only certain areas, requiring to update their grease traps. And from what little information I have had back from it at the moment, it's that these are automatic grease traps, rather than the ones that probably the majority of the places in town have, which you have to clean your own, take the top off and clean them out and all the rest of them.
That's what I'm familiar with. What's
Yeah.
an automatic one? Like,
I have no clue. All I know is,
anybody-
That's a
All I
salt
know-
grease trap.
Mhm.
The semi-automatics are
Yeah.
okay, yeah.
As I understand, they're just expensive.
Yeah.
What they are specifically, I don't know.
It wasn't so much as to
Scott was in it.
do what Plymouth's doing, but I think we need to address what we're doing for fog.
Well, I think the grease traps, first of all, if I'm correct, grease traps come under the Board of Health, not under the sewer department. We are subject to the residue that comes out of it. But the
It should
grease
be
traps-
minus grease,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
I mean, because Guy said they would be doing our inspections for us. Do we know if they've ever done those inspections for us? But sewer used to do the inspections
When?
a while ago. Because we had the records of who was being pumped. I mean,
Pumped, yes. We get the records right here. When the pumper truck comes in and drops something off.
I would see the Board of Health saying they would handle it when they walk into a
But-
restaurant
what
to
a-
check traps to make sure they are being cleaned
Exactly.
Yeah,
and they're not overflowing.
what I am concerned about is, I can remember being told that one pump station was so full of grease, you could stand on it, it was so solid. So we're getting grease in our systems, and maybe we should be doing something about it to prevent that from happening.
It sounds like maybe we should be telling the Board of
Health.
Health that they need to inspect the grease traps. It sounds like it comes under their jurisdiction.
Absolutely.
Because the other ones that do the Board of
Yeah, but
Health
we-
inspections of
Okay,
We
restaurants.
get the
just a
result.
second, to back up to this thing, this is the reason for the EDU. And the reason for taking business
Mhm.
and putting them in categories. And to determine where this particular problem is coming from. And charge accordingly or make the recommendations or requirements accordingly. And right now, you know, we've been shotgun a little bit.
Look, may I throw this out, that
Sure,
if
go
you
ahead.
believe the Board of Health is, it's under their jurisdiction, let's just say it is. I don't know when they do a restaurant check.
Mhm.
Do they do it 60 days, 90 days, or yearly? We should make sure that they're doing the grease trap inspection as part of their SOP at that time they go in. I don't know how often the Board of Health would check out the facility and so to speak.
Or, I mean, I don't know how much staff the Board of Health has.
Do we have a Board of Health agent?
Should it be, should we have this,
I don't know who the new one is.
would
We
it,
have two
Oh, we
guys.
got a new one?
would it be in our best interest to take this responsibility from the Board of Health? And how would we do that?
At this point, I would not want to do that until we get better established in-house ourselves and
Mhm.
staffing and what they're doing and all. And we've got more bodies, yes.
Yeah, it's a
We
question
need
for
more
Scott
bodies to
again,
get their
yeah.
training.
God has
Oh, that's
said
Scott. That's
More than
Scott's.
once,
Yeah.
that when we get staffed, we will be doing more.
Exactly.
Because right now, he
That's the
hasn't
point.
got the staff to it, but
I mean, as it is, I mean, just as an aside for those that don't know, that just the fact that we had the staff available now to go to the trailer park and make the counts that are there is more than we could have done 2 years ago.
Mhm.
Okay, by a long shot. I mean, we're improving, we're getting there. We're getting the staffing, we've got bodies in place, but there's still a lot of them that have to be trained. They're learning, and it's, how much can you do with what you got? But the grease trap thing is being looked at. Scott's looking at it specifically, which I asked him about that.
because we
And
take,
so he's not here to,
we take a hit if it's not done correctly.
Yeah.
So I'm just looking at the Board of Health bylaws, and I did a search for the word grease. It does not appear in the bylaws.
Well, that's because they have everything so under control, they don't have to deal with it, they don't worry about it.
Well, look up fat.
Or fog.
Or overweight.
So, yeah, that was gonna be my question. Assuming we reach a point that we can handle it, how would we assume that responsibility or take it over from the health department if they even have
Staffing is supposed
Does
to be.
Bob Ethier still work with the health department?
I see Bob in the town hall frequently, but I don't know what his relationship is with the Board of Health. He could be a consultant, but I think it was McDonald that he moved on.
Donald, yeah, but
Say how
Donald,
often they
He was
check
the-
local
yeah, he
Yeah.
was.
results.
Maybe Pat can do those stations.
But I just don't, I think we should be more proactive in solving our problem.
Yeah,
I think this is
I
a
agree
time
with
to
that.
find out exactly who does what. This is like an Abbott and Costello show, couldn't it?
Welcome to, yeah. Yep.
Because the only thing I ever heard on the Board of Health side was the science is closed for order of the Board of Health, right?
Yeah.
Am I right?
Yeah, they test how hot the fat is, for
Oh, I
frying,
know.
how hot, yeah.
Yeah, we should, the sewer department should really be in charge of that,
Okay.
seeing as how it affects the plant.
So, it's not, I don't know if it ever was on the menu, on the agenda, I can't remember. Just thinking of restaurants.
Are you hungry?
Yeah.
No, but I have been working on a draft revision of the bylaws for the sewer commission. And didn't have grease traps in mind when I was working on that. And Jimmy, I don't know if you wanted to talk about this or not, but,
Well, that's my next item on the agenda anyhow, so let's go right into it.
okay.
The proposed bylaw.
Oh, there it is, bylaw change, yeah, there it is. So do you want to introduce it, or did you want me to
I will
start
let
right
you
in?
do it because you proposed it, and I like the proposal personally.
All right.
I think some additions have to be made.
Yeah, so what I was thinking about, and some of this had to do with meeting with the urine diversion people, but also thinking about Mass Tech and some of the newer technologies that are coming out. And it seemed to me that there was a gap between what we're supposed to take care of in our bylaws, which is the sewer system, and what the health department, the health board Board of Health is supposed to take care of, which is the septic systems. It seemed like there was a gap in there. So I tried to think of a way to modify the bylaws to fill that gap. And I put a lot of text in here, focusing on some of the important pollutants that we have to deal with. And I don't want to have any kind of vote on this today,
No,
Jimmy,
this
but
is not, no vote on this, this is just for,
right, what I do want is
too far away from vote.
right, is feedback from each one of you on these proposed changes. And you're probably also aware that we're supposed to work with other departments in the town to, it says here, about 2/3 of the way from the bottom, the board in conjunction with other land use bodies shall assist in developing a long-range strategic plan for guiding town growth and development. I know I'm new on the board, but I haven't seen any of that yet. Working with the other land use bodies, I would think that's planning, and I don't know, what are the other ones, what would the other ones be? Zoning?
Zoning.
Yeah, so we haven't done any of that since I've been here, I don't know.
Plus, you have to take a look at, there is a open space and recreation plan that's updated every 7 years. And in it, it has a 7-year plan as to what will be happening to the town in our open space.
Okay, so open
And that
space.
has been forwarded to Scott in a draft form, or will be forwarded when Mr. Sullivan does it, asking for input as to whether or not we have addressed anything he might be concerned about for the next 7 years for development of land. That's the only thing I can think of. Yes, the open space has no authority or anything like that regarding approving anything, but
But it's advisory.
it's,
Right.
here's a plan. And I don't think I've seen anything from planning, zoning, or conservation that looks 7 years in the future.
Yeah. So I think all of those boards, I think that it's right here in the bylaws, we're supposed to be working with all of them for making a future plan. So-
And not just to have the same people on the other boards.
Yeah, I don't know who you're talking about. But I know, Jimmy, that until recently, the issues have been figuring out how to keep the plant going, how to get the staffing up to where it needs to be, and answering questions that are right here, and also in the field areas. But I think one of the things that I would like to think about is how we're going to address those planning things. We're going to have meetings with them at some point, or, you know, how's that going to work?
I think we should, but, you know, I mean, some of the things that we're still playing with right now, we just, when Scott was here earlier, you know, the things we're talking about is the fires he's putting out
Yeah.
today, yesterday, the Bourne is having a problem with their new plant, so they're diverting 50,000 gallons a day more.
They don't hear?
Without approval?
I don't need approval, Sandy.
They're
They've
under-
got 200,000 gallons.
So they can
So
just
they-
dump 500 without any, hey, heads up? Not
They
even
let
a
them know,
Huh?
they let them know.
Okay,
But they
so-
can do it. I mean, they
Yeah.
don't need approval from you, me,
No,
or anybody else.
But at least a heads up to Scott that it's
Yeah.
coming.
That's,
They did?
but that's operational, that's his deal,
That's
that's
not
not
us.
ours. I'm just letting you know that that's what's happening, that's like one of the things that's going on. So they're dealing with another,
Yeah.
50,000, so they're having overflows. Had a problem with one of the units there where they had to take it, and essentially, I don't know if it was a pump or what, but they had one area, the inflow was plugged up solid that they had to derag, they had to shut down. So they had to divert their flow, their storage. It's all handled and under control, but it has to be handled
Sure.
and get done. And it's, you know, bodies to do it, the deragging and all the rest of that. I mean, and that's, again, that's operational. You know, but he was just letting you know that that's one of the things that they've had to play with. So, I mean, he's got a lot of stuff on his plate that he's playing with, that he's getting, he's addressing going forward. He's not gonna have exactly the same issues with, because he's making corrections where he has to
Sure.
and where he can.
But that longer range planning, I think, falls on us more than on the plant operator.
Absolutely.
With his input, obviously, but.
But, you know, at a point, and I'm not sure exactly where that is at the moment, but at a point, I would like to get probably individual, I don't know if it's gonna be individual or collective meetings with some of these boards to be able to address this issue. But what I'd like to do is address this particular issue, the bylaw change, because I think that's necessary, and that should be done.
I'll also say that there's no way that you can hurt my feelings by giving me feedback on what I've proposed here. So please, be as critical as you like.
Well, this isn't from the critical standpoint I'm talking about, I'm talking about a collection, a comprehensive standpoint.
Sure.
It needs more into it.
Yeah.
I think more definition in there, so that there's some solid direction. You know, one of the things that this is missing is any relationship or any indication of an IMA, and I don't know how that would
What,
get impacted.
what's an IMA?
Intermunicipal agreement.
Between us and Warren.
Oh, yeah, okay.
And I'm just looking at that on a long-term basis. Right now, we're only talking about Bourne. But if we can get our expulsion increased so we can do more, we have the potential to be able to take in more business from other places, or be able to work someplace along the line eventually with regionalization. Because we've got the plant, which could be expanded, it has to be, again, we're talking dollars, but putting them aside for the moment. And just a concept is that this plant gets expanded, you can regionalize with one or two or three other towns, because right now we're with Bourne, and essentially we're with Mass Maritime. They do some, I don't think they're doing anything with us now, because we've got their plan, they do it out there. They do their own outfall, but you've got the potential of Mass Maritime would hop on this in a heartbeat if it were something that was workable with Bourne, because they want to get out of the business.
All right, so I think,
But
I'm sorry, Gary, go ahead.
No, I mean, I'm trying to understand this tonight. The wordsmithing of in the editing with the red here, if I were to take out that, is this I don't have the original powers and duties or whatever?
Yeah, this is the original.
Okay, and the reds are added?
Yes.
Okay, good, great. I gotta think about this. No, one thing, maybe the wrong time in coming off it is, one thing I've been thinking about is, from the last meeting is, if I were to come in here as a chief exec and try to move something forward, you do a lot of great work, you guys are fabulous ladies. But in reference to Scott, and then I feel as if he's got so many emergencies and things that he has to repair and fix that I don't know anything about, or maybe we all don't know anything about. So how do you develop a 1 year, 3 year, 5 year look forward to get other parts of the community involved? What should our responsibilities be if we're always going to be chasing back his emergency putting out a fire? We need to, I don't know, what would it cost us to fix these pumping stations that everybody talks about, to get them running where, I mean, do we even have to step?
To be honest with you, they have that plan.
Well, I don't know.
You have not seen it, but it was 3 years ago or 4 years ago. There was a comprehensive plan made of all of our equipment and infrastructure, color-coded as to what was critical, red, yellow.
And do we have funding and an update on where Scott?
Is it the CWNP?
No,
Something different?
this was something different.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I can only go from, I'm very impressed with Scott and what I've heard and seen as a leader. I would like, if we had a list of things that we've done, every 30 days, check off, have we done this, blah, 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 so we can put those things behind us in order to move forward to some of this. That's just the way I think.
How do we get that plan?
Yeah. That-
I'd have to take a look to see if I have it someplace in my emails or on my folders.
So I'm thinking now dollars again. And so if you think about the CWNP 20-year plan, $565 million, plus whatever this plan is, replacement of pumps and upgrading the stations, whatever, who knows how many millions that is. If you think about the budget right now, $8.5 million.
Doesn't cover any of it.
That's just operational.
Yep.
Right.
If you divide the 20 years, $20 to $24 by $565 million, that goes from $8.5 million to $38.5 million. That definitely can't be borne by the sewer users. If you add in this other plan now, I mean, who knows how many million that is? Let's say it's $2 million a year. Now we're talking about 40
million a year.
40 million a year, that can't be borne by the sewer users. And I don't see, at least in the next 4 years, any big infrastructure bills coming down from the federal government to pay for Wareham's sewer improvements. So how are we going to make these numbers, match up? So that's a.
Scott comes before capital planning and gives us his 5-year plan, and we put it in that form. So that is what the most latest capital plan that we received from the sewer department for what they need to do going forward. You have ongoing, but we haven't begun to touch the ongoing.
That's right.
Well, if I just look at year 25 actually.
Yeah.
All right, and I see we got all these tasks.
Yes.
We've done the next one. Forget the money, I'm not interested in that. I am.
From a planning, right?
How do we know where we are with these things? Have we started, finished, completed?
So if you take a look on the left side, there is items with stars next to them.
Yeah, like head arrows, headworks, clarifiers.
Those have been funded, and they're work in progress.
All right, but hold on, okay, I call that WIP.
Yep.
Can we understand where Scott is? I don't want to give any more work, someone to tell us where we are in relationship to the WIP.
This is why we've been having meetings asking, where are we with the clarifiers? Where are we with the hole in the ground? Where are we here, there?
Can we do something to help them out to update these things? I mean, so if I look at this, the stars, I got maybe 3 out of 12 here, whatever it is, 4 out of 12. And none of this other stuff has started yet, that it's just funded for 25?
We had asked Scott to come before the capital planning
I
to
don't-
understand where that is. And he couldn't make the meeting. And Jimmy was supposed to give capital planning an update last January where that is, and that hasn't happened.
This is on the sewer website, under sewer
Don't,
documents.
you were there and Scott
And
didn't,
that final,
Scott was unable to attend the capital
vulnerability
planning meeting. And the
report,
note was that
there's
you
all
were to come in
conversations,
January
basically,
with an update.
a status of the town.
I won't say in January.
I tried sending it to you.
No, December, I was at December meeting.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, there was nobody there but you and I and Alan and
Yeah.
2 other gentlemen,
Mhm.
right? But I.
So maybe it was back to the December,
It was.
January,
It was December.
November, but it was,
All right,
there, we've been trying to get capital planning to be updated with the status. How much of those stars have been finished so we can remove with the list? What is the next priority? And that's what that is.
I see the funding for it, I'd just like an update, so what can we do to help move the projects forward so that we can be more futuristic, strategic, going down the road, that's all I'm saying.
I think they have that particular discussion here, I think it's.
Oh, I was just, yeah, oh yeah, I just bring that as a
No, I
discussion.
understand what you're saying, because, you know, I would like to hear from you, what does he need from us?
Yeah, that's right, that's what I'm
That's
saying.
all. I'm not gonna
But
try.
of everything that's ongoing, I've never seen any of them come up as an actual project and funded. He could very well be doing it under his own capital line item, and I don't know.
Well, that's, you know, in every agenda, we have update from the
Mhm.
director, and I think that needs to be in the
Yeah.
update.
Yeah, just say, can we help you out, Scott?
But
What
he
can we
has
do?
been giving us updates with his current construction. Funded, we have been getting information to him, it's what's happening with what's been
Then
funded.
what are his ongoing day-to-day, week, month-to-month emergency type issues? That, do we have to fix something, resolve it so it doesn't happen again? I just hear that it seems to be that there's a lot of things that are ongoing problems.
And
Am I right? Am I saying
Yeah,
that?
it's mostly, I think, the collection system, the pumping stations, everything out in the field.
Yeah, so how can you move forward if you're gonna constantly go backwards and fix something, so to speak? That's all I'm saying.
he's catching up from a broken system.
But I
That's
think-
exactly what he's
Yeah,
doing.
yeah,
And
And the thing is, he's trying to get this here,
Yeah, up and running,
up
right?
and running, so that we can take care of all of these other things. But in the meantime, some of these things are gonna break down on us more, and they're gonna become the issue of the day that has to get taken care of. And that's what, you know, that's what we're doing, but I'm still trying to push it as much as possible on the plant as a whole, and still pushing as much as possible on the expulsion, because that's gonna be our main constriction going forward.
So, going back to this bylaw thing then, if you would send me your thoughts about this in the next week, it would be groovy, and I can start then incorporating those ideas in here. And we can have a more robust discussion at some point.
if these are bylaw changes,
And then
must they be approved at town meeting? Because
Yes.
town meeting
Yes.
has to approve all bylaw changes.
Yeah.
It has to go to the bylaw
This is
committee first.
That
This won't be something until the fall,
The fall, yeah.
next spring.
The bylaw committee was a short-termed one. It isn't an ongoing
I
committee. It
see.
was only to take a look at our bylaws right now and make recommendation to town meeting for changes, like i.e., don't fly a kite in front of a horse.
Why?
That can be removed from the bylaw.
Oh, right.
You know, that type of, there is
Yeah.
such antiquated words
Yeah.
within the bylaws, and that's what that committee was looking at, was can we bring it to more current wording? But don't consider them a ongoing committee, it was a short-lived one.
Okay. I've also given this to the select board, select liaison to the sewer commission. And she's looking at it as well, so.
Okay.
I haven't got any feedback yet from her, but
She's resigning.
yeah, in May. So we still have some time.
Well, Scott, we'll meet with Rich Ball,
Okay.
town council.
I thought it was April.
We need to thrash this out amongst
Oh, yeah.
ourselves first.
Yeah.
I think you're April, my friend.
What's that?
I think it's, I just met with her the other night, I think it's April.
May 5th.
May 5th, yeah.
You're talking
Sherry.
Sherry, May 5th, the day before the election.
Oh, I thought the election was April.
I thought it was April, I apologize.
No,
No, May 5th.
board,
May 6th.
the town meeting is in April, the fourth Monday in April, and elections follow that.
Okay.
So that everybody is there who currently involved in, it used to be reversed.
Exactly.
So you would get somebody elected who wasn't part of all the discussion that went on town meeting floor, but now it's,
Right.
hey, elections follow spring town meeting.
It's my fifth. Okay.
All right,
I will send her a reminder that I need to get her feedback on this as well.
it's good, I like that. Sounds good.
I need to have at least 2 jobs going at one time.
I hear you, I get it.
The Narrows Forest Main.
Per committee.
They're designing it right now, and then it's going out for bid.
GHD, Fields and
No,
Weston Sampson.
I believe it's Weston Sampson, so
Who's
the,
that
Forest
for?
Main,
West, WST?
Weston.
Western, oh.
I'm pretty sure that's what it is.
How do these things get divided up? Do they bid on them? Do they have special
Yes.
areas or what?
They bid on them, sometimes they won't bid on it, but yes.
So, can someone give me a visualization exactly what they're gonna do down in the Narrows with the water and the ridge and all that stuff?
Well, what
It's
the
the
base,
force, no, sorry, go ahead.
basically, what they're doing is replacing the forced main from the Narrows pump station straight down
All right.
Minot Ave
Okay.
over here.
Then under the river,
Yeah,
under the
that's
tracks, under the river, then here.
It's a big job. How much road traffic disruption will there be?
From what I gather in the last discussion, it's not much. There's gonna be some, yes,
Fourth of July weekend.
but not, yeah, well, that's what we're trying to plan on, because it seems to be that, you know.
Try to do it when school's not in session.
Yeah.
That takes a lot of traffic off the road.
There's most people around to watch,
Yes.
so they know what we're doing.
The Narrows Force Main is the most crucial part of the
It's the
sewer
most critical.
system right now.
It's the most critical part.
And to be honest, the amount of money we set aside, approved at town meeting, was designed to be put in a liner.
Yeah,
This new plan is dig a hole, and you know we don't have beginning to have enough money for what was approved at town meeting to accommodate that. It was a lot different doing a liner from, manhole to manhole as opposed to digging a hole and laying brand new pipe.
The trench, yeah. And Scott's idea, I think he explained this before, was to leave the existing pipe there
Yes.
to use it as a conduit.
Right.
Possible
Output.
conduit for outfall.
Outfall.
So has this project been approved, contracted? What's the-
Hasn't been contracted yet. I mean,
So that's
we're
what
in design.
Yeah, Weston and Sampson's doing the design. Once the
Design.
design done, it will then go out to bid.
Okay.
so they like the engineering type people?
Yes.
Yes.
That's one of the engineering.
Do we have a target date for that?
I didn't foresee any.
Okay.
It's this year sometime, but
Who do they update? Do they update Scott?
yeah.
I see nothing in my notes for completion date for putting it out to bid.
So what are we discussing then about that, or is this?
Well, I was gonna have more discussions, unfortunately Scott's not here.
Oh, I see.
So, we can't continue it. I didn't realize, that this meeting came up with.
So that's going to go through some wetland areas as well. So this could take a while, the whole process of approving this, right? No? Okay.
My understanding that utilities have an exemption for wetlands. We can put in some restrictions, but we can't stop it.
Okay. Well, I wouldn't want to stop it anyway.
No.
No.
It's kind of like 40B.
Gotta do it.
Just gotta do it.
It's like people putting in overhead power lines, they want to, you know, do work, and some of it goes over wetlands, et cetera, et cetera. Most of it's a courtesy to conservation, so we know what's happening, but I don't believe we can stop a project. Yes, they'll go under the wetlands, it will go under the river,
Okay.
or through the river, or something like that, however the other
Around
pipes
the
are running.
Yeah, over the river through the woods.
Yes, that too.
Yeah,
The little dig, as opposed to the big
Big
dig,
dig.
right?
yeah.
5 years versus 10.
We should all have done a sandwich and have them knock on the door with taking the house by eminent domain. That's in the process now.
Yep.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Currently, my daughter's firm has gotten the contract for designing the lighting for the new bridges.
Bridges? Oh,
Bridges, yep. Yep.
Okay.
What's the first one?
Sagamore was
Sagamore.
done first, yeah.
Two bridges at the side, right? One each way.
I haven't seen the design.
I think so.
I just know people are losing their homes.
Yeah.
Hey, anything else to add to this soiree?
What would we like to cover at our next workshop?
We're gonna have GHD here. Go over the
TMDL, CWMP.
yeah, CWMP.
Is there any chance of Weston and Sampson giving us an update of where they stand, or how much a percentage of engineering is done?
I will check with Scott and I can follow that and see.
That sheet that you had, Sandy, the table with
Mhm.
expenditures, 5 years expenditures, is not very detailed.
It's not intended, what it is, it's not intended to be the detail, it's just
Overview.
an overview of what it is. Typically, when a department head comes for capital planning, they fill out a complete detail behind it for capital planning, and that's not, so this is just a summary of that. But it's been a while since capital planning has insisted that those forms be used. Most of it is just word of mouth in a meeting. That's just the way it is.
That's the problem, remember, is capital planning can't approach the department heads without approval.
That's right. We can't go to a department head. It has to be Mr. Sullivan approves the department heads coming before us to discuss it. We can't, we have to wait for Derek to say,
Right.
here's a time frame to bring in municipal maintenance, IT, sewer, etc. We can't go with them, which is why when I ask Scott, I have to take my my capital planning hat on when I ask him the status of projects.
So, you just, I didn't realize that. I don't know if you're still doing what we did and have them all come in on the same day scheduled.
Well, we've asked for it, and Mr. Sullivan asked that we delay our February meeting for some time in March, and I'm waiting for him to tell the chairman of capital planning when in March these department heads can come before us.
Did we say which March?
No? Well, then, who knows, who's the capital planning chair? I wonder.
Who is?
Alan.
Alan.
Alan's the chair and I'm the clerk. Can you imagine what goes on in those meetings?
I don't even want
I thought
to
you
know.
were the finance
I'm not gonna go to one of those.
Finance committee.
Yes, but he's their representative on, he's their finance representative on capital planning.
Okay. No unanticipated items. Next workshop, April 10th, 1:30. We'll have a meeting prior to that. Adjournment,
Make a motion to adjourn?
Second?
At,
all in favor?
Aye.
by 2:43.